So you may be wondering if you actually need an attorney to go through the probate process. The basic answer is nope, you don't absolutely need one. There is a process known as pro per where the administrator of the estate represents themselves and the estate effectively. Some people consider doing this so that they can save the attorney's fees on the probate costs. And to put it bluntly, the probate's fees in probate are dictated by the state of California. Some attorneys' offices do also have ancillary fees that they include for additional services when handling a probate matter. So it is important to ask about that if money's tight for you. If money is tight for you and you're speaking with a great attorney that can actually help you and make things way easier, don't let the money be what stops you. Have a conversation and just put it on the line. Say, hey, this is what I'm working with. This is what I'm looking at. These are what my concerns are, and this is where I hope to be when all of this ends. Can you help me? If they agree to it, put it in writing and get going. Now, another thing that you may want to consider too is that if probate's even necessary, there's a few different options. And if you just check out like, hey, do I even need probate? In the state of California, the assets of the deceased need to be in excess of $166,000 and some change. Now, there are a few other ways that you can get around this. Generally speaking, if you have real estate and you're in the state of California, you're probably going to go over that $166,000 mark. Certain mobile homes probably won't, but at that point, you're paying space rent and you don't actually own the real estate. It's actually personal property rather than real estate. If you have real estate, you're probably going to have to go to probate if there isn't a trust. If there is a will, you're going to need probate. Now, a couple of ways that you can get around probate that are a little bit interesting. Let's say that a husband and wife buy a home, and they buy this home knowing that one or the other has a pre-existing health condition. Maybe they have cancer or something like that. They can set up the vesting of the property with right of survivorship. So what do I mean by vesting? When you vest a property, it's also asked how you want to hold title. And that means when you look up who owns a property, what does it say? Does it say the Joe Smith Family Trust? Or does it just say Joe Smith? Now, if it says the Joe Smith Family Trust, you don't need probate. You need to find a copy of that trust. Can't find a copy of that trust, you need to figure out which attorney drafted it. And if they're not in business anymore, you need to find out which attorney bought their business. Let's say that you bought a property with a partner, and then between those two partners, one person had some health issues. Maybe they had cancer or some pre-existing terminal illness. You could vest the property as Joe Smith and Jane Doe as joint tenants. Joint tenants has right of survivorship right in. You can also do it even if you're married to one another. You can have it as community property with right of survivorship. And there's even a popular transfer on death deed that people use in some situations. When it comes to finding out how you should vest a property, always consult an attorney and a tax professional. The way you vest property can highly impact what you pay for property taxes, capital gains, and it could even affect your income taxes. So it's super important to have a good tax advisor look at your situation, understand what you're trying to do, and get advice from them. And now when we talk about personal property, if you have personal property over $166,000 and some change, what does that look like? Well, those could be retirement accounts, life insurance policies, stock brokerage accounts. Like say if someone did really good with Robinhood and they bought a bunch of Bitcoin right before the pandemic or some Nvidia, and then now it's worth bonkers money and they pass away, that's got to go to probate. How do you get around probate with that? Well, you got to keep in mind that probate is basically a system of checks and balances to make sure that the right people get the inheritance. It's a court system built to make sure that no one's being left out for the better or worse. And one of the ways that you can get around that with a thing like a stock account is to place a beneficiary on it. So when you place the beneficiary on it, when you pass, rather than that asset going to probate, it has a named beneficiary already and should pass along. Consult your estate attorney for details. And if you need a referral for a great estate attorney, I know several that are absolutely awesome in their field, and I'd be more than happy to introduce you. Just give me a call or a text, 760-697-5661.